In Lakesh and Veritas, with honor, respect, and gratitude, everyone. Welcome to our In Lakesh Studio One's Evolutionary Book Club tonight, here on the Low of the Sun YouTube channel. And tonight we will be discussing the book, The Subconscious Speaks, by Erna Grabe, and Paul C. Ferrell. I am Diana of the Sun, owner of In Lakesh Studio One, a franchise of the Sun. We offer quantum light property clearing services, truth and tea, call for the truth divination card readings, and other services and products. You can check everything out at inlakeshstudio1.com, and the link is in the description. And also check us out on Instagram at inlakeshstudio1. And every Friday, we do a Frequency Friday call for the truth divination card pull. And I thought today's was so fascinating because today's was unseen. Everything happens in the unseen before it manifests in the seen. And an additional comment with this card is our thoughts create our world. And how appropriate for this today, the third eye, talking about the subconscious and our consciousness. So I thought that was kind of a wonderful synchronicity today. So high frequency living, we offer live streams which focus on high frequency living lifestyle topics, and of the Sun classes, modalities like quantum light property clearing and soul translation, light body movement, and other classes, services, and products. All the live streams are recorded, so be sure to check out our previous live streams and podcasts. And there are playlists out there if you're interested in one topic in particular you'd like to delve deeper into. So check that out. But you can also join us live each week on our live streams, Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern with Lauren of the Sun for Flowers and Frequencies, Wednesdays at noon Eastern with myself for midday meditation. And we are generally focused on the chakra that we are working on with the light body movement that month. Thursdays at noon Eastern, join Lota of the Sun and Tavars of the Sun as they call for the truth. Their live stream on Thursdays is always so expansive. And then on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern, we alternate different topics. So the next 2 Fridays actually will be the Divine Nation Workshop, where we do a group card pull for whoever's online and also whoever sees this. And so it's always interesting to see what comes forward. So that wraps up our announcements. Oh, there's also some August classes for Of the Sun, and all the links are in the description of this live stream. So check that out. So I invite you to join me. Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration? And shall we call for the truth? Shall we call to see the truth in all things? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we have the courage to speak the truth? And shall we accept nothing less than the truth in all of our experiences? All right, everyone. So tonight we will be talking about The Subconscious Speaks by Erna Grabe and Paul C. Ferrell. And this book, the version I have is it's a copy of the original from 1932. So more than 100 years ago, this was written. So it's interesting to keep that in mind as well with the perspective that's being spoken. I first read this book many years ago when I was starting my spiritual and energy journey, and I have read it and listened to it many, many times. So I listened to it from an audible version, and that is a version that was, I think, done in 1990s, in the 90s somehow, and, it's very similar. It's not in the same order as this book. They kinda move things around, but it's the same information. So if you're I'd be happy to hear if any of you have read the book or listened to the book or have any comments. Please feel free to join in the chat because I have many topics I'd like to discuss. But if there's something you'd like to discuss, please share. I would be happy to do that. Um, so I thought what I'd start with is the preface because I think it's important to know where this is coming from. You know, this is the subconscious speaking from their perspective. So the preface is the mind of man contains within itself limitless possibilities. The conscious mind of man is endowed with an inherent creative faculty. It continually creates things in man's life and experience, whether or not man is aware of the creative process. Whenever a man thinks, that thought has creative power. The subconscious mind is but the instrument of the conscious mind of man. It is the medium by which man may call into existence the things necessary to his material welfare. In the following pages, I have tried to explain in a brief manner the process by which the conscious mind of man governs the life and affairs of mankind. This book is by no means complete. It is too condensed to explain things as I should like to explain them. But I trust that at a later date, I may be given the opportunity to deal in a more satisfactory manner with the various processes of mind in its different phases. And I think it's so interesting. I haven't found anything that is like a sequel. So I think it just kind of ended there. But there are so many things to focus on. The, um, the topics that are in the book are the mind using conscious thought in definitely creative manner, success and failure, fear, health, confidence in self. So there's many, many things that they touch upon, even though it's a short book. So I'd like to start with first off, thank you everyone who's joining, and thank you in the chat. In Lakesh Veritas, Tavares of the Sun, Steph of the Sun, Serenia, in Lakesh Veritas. Serenia says, yes, I have read and listened many times. Listen while going to sleep and during sleep. Yes, that is a wonderful time to do it because we absorb all that information. So thank you for that. I've done that as well. I think it's so helpful. It brings clarity. And even though I've been reading this and listening for many years, each time something new pops up as a greater understanding. And I think that's the way things happen as we evolve and we grow. Our understandings change about different things. So I'm just going to start at the beginning with the mind. And the mind of man contains within itself limitless possibilities, as they mentioned in the preface. And that is so important for us to understand. We set limits for ourselves, and that's because there are no limits. And so I find it very interesting that in our world, we've limited ourselves to just what we can either see or feel or what we have seen in the past. And it's hard sometimes to look to the future for that limitlessness, but that's where we need to be. And once we can get there, the subconscious takes over, because the subconscious is the direction from the conscious. So I think this is just so wonderful. So we can, he also goes through some things, but through the individual subjective mind, which is our subconscious, we have the power to call into existence whatever we desire. And so we can do that, but we have to be conscious, conscious of what we are saying. Because whatever we're saying, we are bringing that into fruition. So if we, for instance, say, "Oh, I'm angry about this," that's what we're going to bring forward, is the anger. And so if we flip that and say, "What is right about this? I see the right in this. I am not angry. It's an opportunity for me to clear myself and move forward and learn something new." And when we look at it that way, we change things in our conscious and our subconscious mind. And our thoughts, they create the vibrational frequency that is around us, which is what we attract. So if we're having the joyful excitement, enthusiasm, delight, elevated limitlessness thoughts, then that is what is going to come into our experience. Because we find whatever we seek. And so we need to be aware of what we are looking for in a conscious manner. And we have to release any doubt. So realize that divine power is available to you, and you are always using that divine power. Doubt and fear don't really exist, and they automatically disappear when you release them. When you understand that you are divine and your divine power, that collapses the fear and the doubt. Confidence in the divine power is so important. Confidence in the divine love, in divine protection. And when you surrender to the divine, you know that all is well and right. So the chapter, he talks about, well, I say he because I listened to it with a gentleman who reads the book. And it's the subconscious mind is not a he or a she. Um, it is, well, I believe it was a woman who it came to in this book, but we'll just call it the subconscious mind. And I really enjoy the comments about success and failure. Because if you can establish in your conscious mind a conviction of success instead of fear or of failure, adverse conditions can be completely destroyed. And that's because the subconscious mind must at all times adopt its own as its own whatever idea the conscious mind may be holding. The conscious mind has but to establish within itself the idea of success, and failure automatically disappears. And this is one of my favorite lines when I'm listening to it. I'm like, yes, failure automatically disappears. We we replace it with success. And there are so many tools that we use at Of the Sun. This book is recommended by Of the Sun. Um, but staying at the highest possible vibration, working with our light body, we are bringing forward the, the light to remove that darkness so that we can bring forward in our conscious mind all the successes that we are looking for, all of our desires. And this is a tool to help us get there, as well as our practices, our daily practices, calling for the highest possible vibration, giving ourselves and everything in Lakesh and Veritas, communicating with nature, being one with nature, being one with all that is, calling for the truth. There are so many things that we can do every day to reinforce our conscious mind, to bring that forward into our subconscious mind. So, one of the other chapters is about fear. And I like how it's brought forward that fear is a belief that things are being withheld. The truth is that man has already received all things needed. They are in the abstract, and man must desire them to call them into manifestation. So we must bring that forward into our conscious mind so that our subconscious can work on our behalf and bring forward that. It's effort on our part. However, the process does require concentration. And then you see the effects of that. The conscious mind of man is the determining factor in our creative process. And that's important to understand as well. And this month in the Light Body Movement, we are focused on the sacral chakra, which is about creativity. And so we need to understand that our conscious mind is creative. And when we bring that creativity forward into our experience, the subconscious picks that up and continues that on. So our thoughts determine our vibrations, our frequencies, whatever we're drawing to us. And fear is a vibration that interferes with other vibrations. So we want to keep that away. Bringing forth courage, calling forth courage instead of fear. So another chapter, another topic that he talks about is health. And I think this is interesting. They talk about in order to understand what sickness is, it is necessary to understand what health is. Health is a natural condition of mankind, and disease is simply a distortion of that natural condition of man. The first state of mankind is one of perfection. So we bring forward this disease into ourselves. And since we do that, we can bring forward the health. We can flip that switch. So it is our thinking. So they talk about the reason that conscious mind can cure disease is the body is the product of mind. The subconscious mind is the builder of the body. The power of the conscious mind is supreme over the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is able to change any idea that the subconscious holds. So you just change the idea in your conscious mind and it changes it in the subconscious mind. It must be done with conviction and persistence. It's not just a one-time thing. Generally, we need to keep going. So I like that idea. And they also talk about affirmations and visualizing things to help the conscious mind. As you visualize something and you see the picture, that helps the subconscious get a really good idea. He has a few analogies throughout the book. He uses things like if you're looking to find um, like get a new car, visualize the car, going to the dealership or going to purchase it wherever it's at, and sitting in it, driving it home, giving the money. You have the money to pay for it. And I like that idea because the visualization really, really helps, I think, for everything. So there's a few comments here. Thank you, someone. All right, welcome everyone who's joined since I last looked in the comments. Um, Jessica Little, oh, Jessica Little Elk, 5361, Higher Truth. Yes, thank you. And Lakesh and Veritas, Stacy, and Steph of the Sun. Whatever we think and we put enough power and thought behind and into it, it will manifest every time on time. Absolutely. That's the whole point of this whole book. And Tavares of the Sun, this is one of my favorite excerpts from the book. Thank you. I have many favorites too. Thank you for sharing. And Serenia, this book audio helps us to remember our true selves and that we are not just victims of a preset experience, assisting with awakening out of mass hypnosis that we are helpless. It's a consistency. Yes, it is consistent because we are consistently being drawn out of that. The outside world would like to pull us out of that, but we need to stay inside. Everything is inside of us. And as we continue that inside, we continue to grow ourselves. Tavar says, the conscious mind is the camera. The subconscious is the plate upon which the negative is registered. The universal is the pool of liquid in which the negative is immersed, and it is of such a nature. Yes, I like that also. That's a wonderful, let me see if I can find it. It is such, it is of such a nature that it not only develops the picture, but it also sends that same picture back to the photographer in material form. So that shows us that what we are putting out is coming back to us. And I like this analogy as well with being the negative, the looking at things as a photograph, a camera. And of course, remember this was written more than 100 years ago when they actually took film and put it in liquid. They took a negative and put it in liquid. And I think some people still do that today, but I know we're so used to taking pictures on our camera. But there must, I mean, on our phone, but there must be some, maybe there's some kind of, it must be something similar going on for the pictures to be developed so quickly on our phone. So that's another thought to consider. So let's see. Yes, the conscious mind is the one and only force to which the subconscious mind responds. Conscious thought has power, and power is the product of our thoughts. And this is divinity. That is our divinity. So another section talk about overcoming circumstances. And sometimes people think they are the victim of circumstance. And I know there's a song about that too. But it's only the idea in their mind that has created that experience to be a victim of circumstance. And so when we flip that switch, no longer a victim, because you only, if you permit yourself to be a victim, then you will. But if you permit yourself to not be a victim, you won't. And as you raise your vibration to that higher positive frequency, that won't even come into your experience. But we are individuals, and we must make sure that we look inside ourselves for all of our answers instead of looking for someone else to give us the answer. Take time to be still. Sit on the earth, sit outside, sit in the sun, sit in the rain. Take the time because we are worth it. That is how we grow, by taking the time for us and understanding who we are. So they also talk about lack. And lack is not really something that exists. It's an erroneous belief that we have created because the world and the cosmos, the universe, Earth is beneficent. There's always enough for everyone. And we always have the power to manifest what we want, what we desire. So, a quote from the book, too, is if the individual can establish in his conscious mind a conviction of success, rather than fear of failure, adverse conditions can be completely destroyed. The conscious mind has but to establish within itself the idea of success, and failure automatically disappears. So Tavares also shares, I also like the excerpt that says, first is desire, then acceptance. This part lands for me because it's literally the foundation that manifestation is built upon. Yes. We need to know what we want before we can ask for it, be clear, and then acceptance, accept that, and accept that it is so. It's already so. Yes, and Tavares says that we accepted that what is desired is already made so by the universal mind via the assistance from the subconscious. Yep. It truly is a matter of trusting and knowing. That is so true. When we are in alignment with our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, that they're together, when we understand that they're together, because they always are, the subconscious mind is just acting out what we've put there. So I think we've covered most of the book here. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to share or to cover with this from the book that I didn't cover yet? Steph says, that is so true. Everything is already there. Taking the steps to clear your mind and accept what has always been there for you. Yes, yes, yes. When we understand that, we know that we know that's what's happening. We're asking, and what's coming forward to us is what we're asking for. Sometimes we may not be clear on that, so we need to be clear and understand that it's already so. All righty. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone who has joined tonight. This is a wonderful book, and I hope that if anybody's listening who hasn't read it or listened to it, that they will pick it up and enjoy it and get some information from it. So thank you again. And next month's book hasn't been selected yet, but as soon as I know, I will put it out on my website. So I hope to see you next week at our Divine Nation Workshop. Thank you so much, everyone. In Lakesh and Veritas, with honor, respect, gratitude, integrity, discipline, and action.